Hello, my name is Rowe. I'm a working singer-songwriter, and if this is your first video, welcome. I've done well over 1,000 gigs in my lifetime, acoustic gigs, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to do an acoustic gig. And I'm going to be making a whole bunch more videos like this to kind of help you on your acoustic gigging solo journey. It can be a wild one and a fun one, a very difficult one, a soul-searching one. It's a pretty crazy fun thing to do. But here in this first video about how to do an acoustic gig, I kind of wanted to talk about something I was thinking about. I was just out for a run, getting some exercise, and sometimes I get ideas about YouTube videos, and I was thinking, what is it that made me do all those gigs? What compelled me? What fueled my passion? And I think the number one thing about doing that many acoustic gigs is you really have to fall in love with the process of doing them. And what I mean is there are a whole bunch of steps and rituals that go into being a working musician and an acoustic gigging musician, a solo performer, that most people don't think about. Most people think, well, you just play at the show and then people applause. Like my dad used to always tell me, nobody ever applauded me for when I got done with work, Kev. And I was like, yeah, nobody booed you or worse, ignored you for 2 hours. And yes, back to the rituals, the things that go into this. If you've done any gigs at all, you know that there's a certain process that goes into executing that gig at a level that you're happy with. And that involves practicing during the week. Well, let's go even before that. You got to book the gig, and you need a booking agent, or you can do it yourself. I've done both. I've booked a lot of gigs by myself. And I'll make some videos on how to book acoustic gigs too, or how to find a booking agent or things like that. But back to these rituals. Let's say there's a gig on Friday night, right? You're going to be, earlier in the week, you're going to be thinking about that gig and about actually, as soon as you book the gig, you're probably going to be thinking about what you're going to play, what the set list is going to be like, who might be there, what the atmosphere in the room is going to be like, what kind of food do they have, do they serve alcohol, what time is the gig, because that depends on what you're going to be playing. You start thinking about, dreaming about this acoustic gig, right? And that dream is so beautiful. You have to hang on to that dream. So this is just the beginning of the ritual. Then you're practicing during the week, right? You might be practicing your guitar. You'd be practicing your guitar and learning songs. Maybe you'd be learning cover songs or doing your own stuff. Mostly I write my own original songs. But if you play covers, that's great too. But you're going to be practicing, right? Then you need to take care of your voice, so there are certain rituals that I do which might involve eating the right foods, lots of vegetables and healthy foods and no processed foods, no sugars, things like that, taking care of your body before the gig, because you want your voice to be in the best shape possible and you want your fingers moving the right way, so that's why you're practicing during the week. Then maybe the day before the gig, I like to take that day off as far as like really working hard on my material. I might play for like just 15 minutes to a half an hour to keep my voice in shape and keep my fingers moving. Then the next the day of the gig, people don't realize how much actually goes into an acoustic gig, right? You've got to pack up all your gear in the van or the back of your car. You got to show up at least an hour early, I would say, to set up your PA system and make sure everything sounds right, because you really, really want to put your best foot forward here in this show from song one. So you want to sound good. And then you're going to talk to the owner, talk to some fans that have come to see you. Not mandatory, but that's a part of it. The community. It makes me think of people come to shows to see people. They don't necessarily come to hear music, because they can just turn on your Spotify channel anytime they want or watch your YouTube videos. People really do come to see people. So you want to be fairly accessible. I know that sometimes some artists like to just zone in on the music, and you can do that too. There can be a switch that you're flipping when you just get into the music, and people love that. They want to see you obsessed with your music. Like, there's nothing more intriguing than an artist that dives into his musical world and lives there. They want you there, right? So then you do your first set, things go pretty well, you take your little break, you come back, you do your second set, and then, when you're done, you hang out, you talk with the people, you load up the van, you might have dinner, and then you drive home, and it might be a 3-hour drive home. What I'm saying is the falling in love with the process of doing the gigs is by far the most important thing. And it's like a week-long process. And let's say you're doing like 3 or 4 gigs a week. Then you're really in the process, right? And when you fall in love with the rituals that are tied to the playing of the acoustic gig, then you've really got something to live on. Like, you love practicing, you love loading the van, you love marketing the gig, you love telling people about the gig, you love emailing people about the gig, you love dreaming about the gig, you love doing the gig, you love everything about it. You love driving away from the gig. I mean, that is the most important part, enjoying the lifestyle. Now, it is super hard work, and it's discipline, and it makes me think many times I think it's like joining the priesthood. Like, you're so dedicated to your music that you just will give it everything, right? And you do. And your family and friends kind of jump on that wagon. If you're dedicated enough, they'll be right there with you. Really, the main reason I'm making this specific video, that you need to fall in love with the process of playing music and being a working musician and doing acoustic gigs, is that there are going to be some tough ones. there are going to be some really difficult, heartbreaking gigs where nobody cares that you're there. Some people wish you weren't there because you're just some guy in the corner playing his thing. And they're like, I just came here to eat and have fun. Now there's some sappy acoustic guy in the corner playing music. So you don't have to be that sappy acoustic guy. I'm not saying that. Hey, in a restaurant, sometimes that's beautiful, or a coffee shop. And whatever kind of music you play doesn't matter. There are going to be some really difficult gigs. Sometimes physically, you just don't feel up to it. Like, maybe you're just having a down day and like your energy is low, or you were out drinking too much earlier that week, or you didn't eat the right foods, or it's so hard to eat healthy on the road too. The funnest thing to do is do a gig, drive an hour, and then stop at a gas station and eat a donut. Like those carbs at 2 a.m. are such a fun treat to do, but there comes a time when you just give up that kind of lifestyle. But yeah, back to the gig. There are going to be some really tough times. You're going to be years into your career. not weeks, years into your acoustic gigging career, and you'll be like, what am I doing out here? Like, nobody cares what I'm playing. I'm I'm like playing to no one sometimes. Sometimes people hate me. Nobody likes my songs. All they want to hear is covers. I mean, it's a long list of rejections that you get in this world. Sometimes you get rejected by other musicians because they're like, they might not like your music. Or, I mean, there are just tough times. I mean, you got to work hard. And if you fall in love with the process, all of it is worth it. Like, all the rejection in the world is fine as long as you love the process of the whole thing. Not just the music making, not just the writing, not just the performing in front of people. Like, getting that attention is fun. Like my dad said, nobody clapped for me when I was done with work. Well, that part is fun, getting that praise. But if you ask most musicians and performers, they do not get off on the clapping and the applause afterwards. They get off on the experience of the performance, right? Whether or not you're an instrumentalist or someone, a singer, or someone who just has an amazing stage presence. And I've played with a lot of people who fall in a lot of these different camps, right? All of those different kinds of musicians have to eventually fall in love with the process of the whole thing. You know, like I said, it really is all the steps, the practicing, the dreaming, the set list making, the work, the recording, the booking, the marketing, the advertising, the merch development, the sales, the driving. Yeah, definitely the driving. The hanging out with other musicians, the meeting new people. You know, all those things are so much fun. And it's natural over time to get a little bit jaded when you're not seeing the rewards that you think you're going to get. It really does take many years to become a great musician and to build up a great solid fan base as an artist. One of my things with the internet that kind of bothers me sometimes is all the praise that you get in making a YouTube video or an Instagram video or a TikTok video. You get all this praise, but you don't get as much of the rejection that you get in the real world. So be prepared. There is a lot of rejection. And with the amount of attention you feel like you get on TikTok, you don't necessarily get that attention playing in a coffee shop or a restaurant or getting out there and doing the acoustic gig. That can be a good thing and a bad thing. It gives you a chance to hone your skills and work on your material better without the microscope on you so much. So embrace that freedom. But most importantly, fall in love with the process of the whole thing in an acoustic gig. Okay? It's not just about the dream of playing for a person. You can do that here on YouTube. Fall in love with the process. Okay, so please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be making more videos about how to do acoustic gigs. I'll see you later. Bye.